The metallic clangs of the Galactic Jail echoed through its vast dark corridors, each reverberating sound a grim reminder of the desolation within its walls. The prison, floating at the edge of the Andromeda sector, was a fortress of despair, home to the universe's most notorious criminals. In one of the high-security cells, confined under layers of quantum barriers and electromagnetic fields, was Human, a name that had become a legend across countless star systems. Human, whose real name had been lost to the annals of space and time, was not particularly imposing to look at. Average height, with a mop of unruly hair and eyes that burned with a fierce intelligence, he was often underestimated by those who only saw his exterior. But it was his mind, sharp and unyielding, that had earned him his reputation, and his cell in the Galactic Jail. The alien warden of the jail, a towering creature from the Zorblat constellation, was a mass of tentacles and eyes, each limb ending in tools designed for restraint and punishment. The warden prided itself on never having a prisoner escape under its watch. It had laughed, a sound like the gurgle of a blocked engine, when Human was first brought in, shackled and surrounded by elite guards. "Laugh while you can," Human had muttered under his breath, his voice a low growl barely heard over the clanking of his chains. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Human spent his time observing, planning, calculating. The jail was a masterpiece of security technology, equipped with sensors that could detect a pin drop from 3 cells over, guards equipped with the latest in combat tech, and a layout designed to disorient and confuse. Human, however, had a gift that transcended mere intellect. He possessed an innate understanding of patterns and systems, an ability to see the weak points in any structure, be it physical or digital. And so, as he sat in his cell, he pieced together his escape, bit by bit, with the patience of a predator waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The warden continued to gloat over its perfect record, stopping by Human's cell from time to time to remind him of his impending life sentence. "Not a soul has ever escaped the Galactic Jail," it would say, its many eyes blinking asynchronously. "And neither will you." But on a day like any other, when the red giant in the nearby system flared and the shadows in the jail deepened, Human was ready. The jail was momentarily understaffed as a shift change coincided with an unexpected solar storm, a rarity that caused minor disruptions in the electromagnetic fields. Seizing the moment, Human activated a device he had meticulously assembled from parts he had stolen piece by piece over the months, a makeshift hacking tool disguised as a common electronic maintenance kit. Quietly, he worked on the electronic lock of his cell door, his fingers moving with swift precision. The lock clicked, a sound almost inaudible over the storm's interference. Human stepped out of his cell, his heart pounding not with fear, but with the thrill of the challenge. He moved like a shadow through the dimly lit corridors, avoiding the usual patrol routes, his steps silent on the cold metal floor. As he neared the outer walls of the jail, the scale of his undertaking dawned on him. Ahead lay not just the guards and the physical barriers, but the vast, empty space of the galaxy. Escape meant braving the void, with no certain refuge in sight, but Human had come too far to doubt. As he approached the final barrier, a massive door leading to the docking bays, he prepared himself for the last leg of his escape. Little did he know that the universe had more trials waiting for him, trials that would test not just his cunning, but the very core of his being. Behind him, alarms began to blare. The silent phase of his escape was over. It was now a race against time and the entire force of the Galactic Jail. But Human ran not just for freedom, but for a destiny that was yet to be revealed. Human dashed towards the docking bay, the blare of alarms crescendoing into a relentless assault. Each door slid open a fraction of a second before he reached it, his makeshift device sending the override code streaming ahead of him. The cold, sterile light of the bay shone ahead, promising a slew of docked ships ripe for the taking. As he entered the bay, the scale of his surroundings hit him, a cathedral of steel and pulsing energy lined with ships of all sizes. His eyes locked onto a small, sleek interceptor, its hull matte black and barely reflecting the emergency lights flickering overhead. It was a ghost ship, designed for stealth and speed, perfect for his needs. With the warden's forces undoubtedly on his heels, Human didn't hesitate. He sprinted across the metallic expanse, his boots thudding against the ground, and leaped into the cockpit of the interceptor. Panels lit up as he initiated the launch sequence, his fingers dancing over the controls with practiced ease. Outside, the bay doors began to close, an automated security measure triggered by the ongoing breach. Human's heart raced as he punched the thrusters, the engines roaring to life with a promise of escape. The ship lurched forward, slipping through the narrowing gap with mere inches to spare. Once clear of the Galactic Jail, Human plunged the ship into the nebula lying adjacent to the prison sector. The colorful gases swirled around him, providing a temporary visual cover as he recalibrated his course. He needed a plan, a destination that could offer both refuge and resources. His mind raced through star maps and rumors of hidden outposts, known only to the most daring or desperate. The pursuit was relentless. Sensors pinged with incoming patrols, dispatched from the jail to recapture him. Each ping was a reminder of the warden's reach and resources. Human dipped the ship into a dive, skimming close to a magnetic storm that disrupted sensors and communications. He used the chaos of the storm as a cover to mask his next move. Rerouting power to the engines, he pushed the interceptor to its limits, heading towards a little-known wormhole rumored among smugglers to lead to uncharted territories. It was a gamble, but one he was willing to take. Navigating through the wormhole was like steering through a maelstrom of light and shadow. The ship bucked and rolled under forces that defied normal physics, every second stretching into eternity. When he finally emerged on the other side, he found himself in a system that didn't exist on any official map. A rogue star, orbited by a single, seemingly barren planet. But the quiet didn't last long. Scans picked up an anomaly on the planet's surface, a signal odd and out of place in the empty space. Curiosity, ever Human's driving force, pushed him towards the planet. As he descended, the surface broke into jagged landscapes and deep canyons, among which lay the source of the signal, a crashed ship of unknown origin, its design unfamiliar and advanced. Human sat down near the wreckage, his mind alight with possibilities. Could this be another prisoner's failed attempt at freedom, or something more alien, more significant? He prepared for a closer inspection, unaware that the real test of his escape was just beginning, hidden in the shadows of the mysterious craft. As Human approached the crashed vessel, his sensors flared warnings, the readings erratic and unlike anything his database could identify. The hull of the ship was composed of a metal that seemed to absorb light, making it difficult to ascertain its exact dimensions. He circled around it, his curiosity piqued by the alien technology that lay before him, its secrets beckoning. With caution, he donned his environment suit, stepping onto the desolate terrain. The gravity was slightly higher than Earth's, adding a weight to his steps that matched the gravity of the situation. He made his way to what appeared to be an access hatch, partially ajar, revealing a dark interior that promised neither welcome nor warmth. Inside, the air was stale, the atmosphere of a place long abandoned. The ship was larger on the inside than it appeared from outside, a common trick of advanced engineering he had encountered before. Corridors branched off in all directions, leading to rooms filled with alien technology that hummed with residual energy. It was clear the ship was designed for more than mere travel. It was a vessel of exploration, possibly a scientific outpost that had met an untimely end. Human navigated the corridors, his handheld scanner struggling to make sense of the alien schematics. He found a central control room, its panels alive with blinking lights and strange symbols, the language unrecognizable but beautifully logical in its design. He attempted to interface his device with the ship's systems, a risky move that paid off as he managed to download partial logs and data. The data was fragmented, but it spoke of a civilization seeking refuge from a cosmic threat, a force capable of devouring stars. The details were vague, the final entries filled with a palpable sense of urgency and fear. It seemed the ship had been a harbinger of doom, escaping from a cataclysm that might still be spreading across the universe. As he absorbed this information, Human felt a chill that had little to do with the ship's cold interior. If these beings had been fleeing something, it was possible that the same threat could reach the Milky Way, if it hadn't already. His escape from the Galactic Jail suddenly seemed a smaller concern against the backdrop of this potential disaster. Just as he was about to leave the control room, a hidden compartment by the rear wall caught his eye. Inside he found a device, its purpose unclear, but its make suggesting it was a key or a tool, possibly linked to the ship's mission. He pocketed the device, a decision that felt more like destiny than choice. Exiting the ship, he looked up at the rogue star, its light flickering ominously. He realized that the jailbreak had not only freed him from imprisonment, but had also thrown him into a much larger arena. He now held possibly crucial information about a cosmic threat, and the mysterious device might be a piece of the puzzle in understanding or combating that threat. Human made his way back to his ship, the weight of his new responsibility settling on his shoulders. He knew he had to make decisions about his next steps, decisions that involved not just his survival, but potentially that of the entire galaxy. As he launched off the barren planet, the stars ahead were both map and mystery, pulling him deeper into the unknown. Human piloted the interceptor through the vast expanse of space, the coordinates of the wormhole locked in. The rogue star dwindled behind him, its secrets now embedded in the data within his ship's core, and the alien device resting heavily in his pocket. His mind raced with plans and contingencies, the weight of the unknown pressing down on him as the stars streaked past. As he approached the wormhole, his thoughts turned to the civilizations that might exist beyond it, civilizations that could be threatened by the cosmic horror he had just learned about. The interceptor's sensors blipped a warning as he neared the event horizon, the fabric of space-time shimmering like a disturbed pond. The transit through the wormhole was less tumultuous this time, a testament to the interceptor's adaptability, or perhaps to his growing familiarity with this bizarre mode of travel. When he emerged on the other side, he was greeted not by the vacuum of space, but by a vibrant star system bustling with activity. Ships of various designs and sizes darted about, and massive space stations loomed against the backdrop of a radiant blue star. Human's presence did not go unnoticed. A squadron of sleek silver ships approached, their design elegant and streamlined, unlike any he had seen before. He received a hail in a clear, melodic language that his translator struggled to interpret. The message was one of caution, not hostility, asking for his identity and purpose. He responded with calculated honesty, identifying himself as a traveler with valuable information regarding a universal threat. The response was immediate and surprisingly welcoming. He was escorted to the largest of the space stations, a colossal structure that orbited the third planet, a verdant world teeming with life. Upon landing, Human was met by a delegation of beings from the Syrian Collective, a civilization known for its advanced technology and diplomatic acumen. They were humanoid, with iridescent skin and eyes that reflected the cosmos. Their leader, a dignified figure named Calum, expressed both intrigue and concern over Human's findings. Human shared the data he had extracted from the alien ship, explaining the potential threat and showing them the device he had found. The Syrians were particularly interested in the device, which they identified as a stellar manipulator, a tool capable of altering solar outputs and potentially much more. The implications were staggering. With technology like this, a civilization could defend itself against, or possibly even redirect the cosmic threat Human had uncovered. But such power also came with great risk. The Syrians convened their council, debating their next move, while Human was given guest privileges and a place to rest. The station was a marvel of technology and culture, a utopia floating in the void. He interacted with various scholars and technologists, each exchange broadening his understanding of the Syrian people and their place in the cosmos. He learned of their navigational grids, vast networks of artificial wormholes that connected distant parts of the galaxy, a network that could prove crucial in spreading the warning and mobilizing a defense. Human realized he had stumbled upon not just allies, but a beacon of hope for the galaxy. As he prepared for the Council's decision, he understood that his mission had grown beyond mere survival. He was now a part of a larger narrative, a coalition forming to face the darkness rushing silently towards them from the void. He waited, ready to lend his knowledge and courage to the Syrian collective as they prepared to face whatever lay beyond the starlit shadows. The Syrian council convened in a chamber that seemed to float among the stars, its transparent walls offering a panoramic view of the bustling system. Human sat among the delegates, his status as an outsider marked by his simple attire against their shimmering garments. Calum presided over the meeting, his voice calm yet carrying an underlying urgency as he addressed the assembly. Today, we face a threat not just to our collective but to all known life. The evidence provided by our guest highlights the urgency of our situation, Calum announced, gesturing toward the data projections that hovered above the table. Images flickered of the devouring darkness, a celestial phenomenon capable of extinguishing stars. The debate was intense, with voices raised in concern and curiosity. Some were skeptical of the data, questioning its authenticity and the motives behind it. Others argued for immediate action, proposing the formation of an exploratory task force to assess the threat firsthand. Human listened, his understanding of the Syrian language deepening with each passing moment. As the council reached a consensus on verification of the threat, Human was invited to contribute his thoughts. Standing, he cleared his throat, feeling the weight of the galaxy's eyes upon him. I come from a divided world where trust is as scarce as peace. Yet, here among you, I see the potential for unity in the face of adversity. The device I carry, he paused, holding up the stellar manipulator, is key to our survival. I propose a united front, pooling our resources and knowledge to combat this darkness. His proposal was met with murmurs of approval and nods of respect. A motion was put forward to integrate Human into their task force as a technical advisor. The vote was unanimous, and with it, Human became an official ally of the Syrian collective. In the days that followed, Human worked closely with Syrian scientists and strategists, planning their next steps. They needed to understand the scope of the threat and devise potential defenses or deterrents using the stellar manipulator and other technologies. Teams were assembled, combining experts from various fields, each tasked with a specific aspect of the investigation. Human found himself at the heart of these preparations, his knowledge of rogue technologies and unorthodox tactics providing a fresh perspective. He helped design experimental probes that would be sent into affected areas to gather detailed data, and he contributed to theoretical models of how the cosmic threat consumed energy. The task force decided their first course of action would be to send a reconnaissance mission to a nearby system that recent probes suggested might be on the path of the encroaching darkness. The mission would gather real-time data and test some of their preliminary defense strategies. As the launch date approached, Human felt a mix of excitement and dread. He was no stranger to danger, having escaped the Galactic Jail, but this was a different kind of peril, one that threatened not just his life, but the lives of countless others across the galaxy. The night before the mission, Calum visited Human in his quarters. "Your presence has been a beacon of hope for us," Calum said, his tone earnest. "Whatever we find out there, I believe that our combined efforts can lead to salvation. This darkness, it is a reminder of how fragile our existence is and how united we must be to preserve it." Human nodded, feeling the solidarity of his new companions. Together, they would face the unknown, armed with science and a newfound alliance. As the stars twinkled silently outside, a plan took shape, one that might just save the galaxy from the impending darkness. The day of the mission dawned with a quiet tension that permeated the Syrian space station. Human stood in the mission control room, surrounded by a flurry of activity as final preparations were made. Screens lit up with telemetry and star maps, each flicker and beep a testament to the urgency and precision required for the task ahead. The reconnaissance team was a select group of Syrian pilots and scientists, accompanied by Human, who had insisted on being part of the action. They boarded a specialized craft, equipped with advanced sensory equipment and experimental defensive technologies, including the newly adapted applications of the stellar manipulator. The air was thick with a mix of anticipation and solemnity as the ship detached from the station and slipped into the starry expanse. As the craft approached the target system, the effects of the cosmic threat became undeniably apparent. Stars that should have been vibrant were dimming, their light swallowed by an unseen force. The darkness was not just an absence of light, but a palpable presence, an emptiness that seemed to tug at the very essence of space. Human watched the readouts on his console, the scientific data intertwining with the creeping dread that filled the cabin. The closer they got, the more erratic the ship's instruments became. Standard physics seemed to unravel, making navigation and prediction increasingly difficult. "Activating the manipulator," announced one of the Syrian engineers, her voice steady despite the circumstances. The device, once alien and mysterious, was now their hoped-for shield, tweaked and tuned to emit a pulse designed to temporarily disrupt the dark force's advance. The ship shuddered as the pulse emitted, a wave of energy rippling outwards. For a moment, the advance of the darkness halted, the stars flickering back to life as if gasping for breath. Cheers broke out in the cabin, a brief eruption of relief. But the victory was short-lived. The darkness resumed its encroachment, though now at a discernibly slower pace. "We've bought some time, but it's not enough," Human said, turning to the team. "We need to gather as much data as possible while we can. Every second counts." The mission shifted to data collection, with probes launched into the heart of the darkness and sensors working overtime. Human's hands flew over the controls, extracting and recording the strange phenomena, each piece of data a crucial element in understanding and eventually countering the threat. Back on the station, Calum and his team monitored the progress, the data streaming in real time. The information was alarming, yet invaluable. It painted a picture of a force unlike any known physics, a challenge to their understanding of the universe. After hours of tense observation and collection, the reconnaissance team made a strategic retreat, their ship heavy with data but light on answers. Upon their return, the mood was a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. They had witnessed something few could imagine, let alone confront. In the aftermath, Human and the Syrians pored over the data. Theories were formed and discarded, strategies debated and refined. A plan began to take shape, one that involved not just the Syrians, but all capable civilizations. Messages were sent out, calls for a united front against the darkness, each plea carrying the weight of their newfound knowledge and urgent need for collaboration. As the galaxy began to respond, a network of allies formed, each bringing their unique capabilities to bear. Human stood at the center of this growing alliance, no longer a fugitive but a leader in what would be the greatest collective effort ever undertaken. The darkness was still out there, an ever-present threat, but now, for the first time, there was a glimmer of hope. The galaxy had awoken to the danger, united by necessity and driven by the will to survive. The fight was just beginning, but together, they faced it not as separate peoples, but as a united cosmos, ready to defend their light against the consuming dark.